So, Dr. Carson, how is the state of the Valley?
Well, I think we've raised a call to action about that if we don't take deliberate steps now, we may not retain our position as the center of innovation in the country and in the world.
I want to ask you, your foundation is working very closely, and it's the problem of the negative impact on payday loans. What are your views on that?
Well, essentially, and we talk about predatory payday lending, because we have a situation in the state of California where it is legal to charge someone 400% or more on a payday loan of 2 weeks or so. So you go in, you get a cash advance, and you're paying 400% interest. It's outrageous and it's legal.
So, Dr. Carson, do we need policy changes? Do we need consumer education? What's needed to, to try to turn this around?
We need two things to happen, really three. First, we need to have alternatives for individuals in these communities. One of the reasons why families feel that they can only turn to these egregious and outrageous lenders is because they don't have traditional banks, community banks, other kinds of lending situations. Second, they need to be informed. There needs to be financial education. There's evidence that many of these people don't understand what they're signing. And third, we ought to consider statewide legislation. Other states have done it, a 36% cap, which to many will still sound very high. That is the cap that the federal government has established for military families all over the United States.
You mentioned before 400%. That seems like an astronomical number. How does that work?
Well, we don't allow usury in this country. We don't allow people to take advantage. There's something called a normal rate of profit. And that's why we use the term predatory payday lending. We recognize that there ought to be vehicles, and we think 36% is a pretty hefty profit margin. We think 400% is exorbitant and predatory.
Do these firms, do these companies target minorities? Do they go after communities of color?
There is certainly evidence that poor communities, which are disproportionately African American and Latino, have far more payday lending facilities than other communities that are more affluent. Whether or not they're targeting African Americans and Latinos as opposed to targeting rates of poverty where people don't have access to alternatives, there's debate.
One final question, and that's legislation. As I understand it, the state of Ohio has come out in response to these payday loans. Is that what we need here?
We're hoping first to educate legislators that A, this is happening, the negative impact it's having on families, and that other states have successfully enacted caps to prevent citizens from being preyed upon. Look, at a time when families need to keep every available dollar they have for food and shelter, now is the time to put more money back in their pockets and not in the pockets of people who are taking unfair advantage of them with outrageous interest rates.